Please join me in welcoming Adam Gary.
Right now, I'm on a mission to help as many school systems understand the risks and possibilities of generative AI because this is such a new thing, and I do believe it's a watershed moment for education. I think it's imperative that we are out having these conversations and educating people on the topic.
I'm really not going to be doing my job today if I don't talk about the risks and the possibilities with generative AI, things that we need to be thinking about as a school system before we just unleash this technology on students and teachers. This is a very different way of looking at the internet. That shift from finding information to finding answers. And this is just an example of how you think about that, right? That bottom thing, that's the old Google way. The top thing is how you have a conversation about nuclear fusion with ChatGPT. What's going to happen to jobs? AI will not replace humans, but the humans who use AI intelligibly will replace those who don't. By 2027, there will be 1 million jobs for machine learning and AI that don't exist today. That skill of generative AI, being able to use those tools, it will shoot up to the third most important thing when someone goes to look for a job. Prompt engineering basically means, how do I get really good at asking this thing to do things for me? Act like someone that does professional development for educators. What outcomes would you create for a full day of learning about generative AI and how it applies to school districts? This was from that innovation summit that we did. What the room did is they did have, what they were working on, which was they wanted to get more professional development for their teachers in an elementary school. They wanted to build a new schedule to provide for that. So they had come up with all these parameters. They actually spent about 4 hours coming up with this, but they had no idea how to get to a schedule. And so MJ and I walked in the room and we said, well, let's just put all the parameters into ChatGPT and then let's start prompting it. And so then we said, okay, that's not good enough. Let's just really prompt this thing. So we said, act as a principal. Let me know, is there any changes that should be considered from that perspective? We said, create an email summary. And then they started to analyze the output to see if it got them to their goal. And it got them like 80% there. And then they had to go back to the school district and work on that other 20%. We all need to be thinking about how are we curious and how are we continuing to learn in this environment? With these new tools, especially as I'm talking to people about generative AI for sure, the folks that are very curious about just things in their world have been using these tools nonstop. We still are the heart to this thing, right? We still are the emotional aspect of this thing, and we have to keep that in front of us no matter what we do.